Hello everyone, Soulflame here, playing on my Restoration Shaman Barley Braids. Today I'll be giving you a quick run through of the Healing Silver mode of the Proving Grounds. I've intentionally chosen not to use any major healing cooldowns during this video. As a Shaman you'll have 3 major healing cooldowns, each one with a 3-minute cooldown. These can be used either proactively or reactively, whichever better suits your style, so feel free to use them in whichever round is giving you the most trouble. As always, a quick look at my glyphs and talents. It should be noted that due to the somewhat random nature of incoming damage during the healing mode, there's no set way to do this correctly. As such, all of my advice will be more general, but I'll do my best to guide you through each round. All of the countdowns and warnings you'll see as the video progresses are provided by the Proving Grounds module of the DBM add-on. If you don't already have that, I suggest you get it. Shamans have great self-synergy, and one of the keys to healing well as a shaman is knowing how your abilities interact with each other. As a general rule, you'll want to keep Earth Shield active on the tank at all times. Not only does it heal a small amount with each hit, effectively acting as a HOT, but it also increases your healing on that target by 20%. Additionally, you'll want to use Riptide pretty much on cooldown. You'll want to make sure it's always rolling on the tank and 1 or 2 other targets. The reason you want to Riptide so frequently is because of the Tidal Waves buff, which makes you either far more powerful or far more efficient depending on your spell choice. Anytime you face off against a Hive Singer, you're going to want to use your anti-caster toolkit to keep them locked down as best as you can. Your teammates should interrupt the first 2 casts by the Hive Singer. After that, you'll want to interrupt it as often as you can using Wind Shear, or you can also stun the entire group by using Capacitor Totem. You have several useful offensive abilities which you can use when nobody needs healing. You'll want to use Elemental Blast on cooldown, keep Flame Shock on at least 1 target, and make sure that you have a Fire Totem active. Once you've done that, use Lava Blast on cooldown and Lightning Bolt as filler. When facing a Flame Caller, you'll want to interrupt the ability that channels the Flame Puddles as quickly as you can. Once he switches to Pyroblast, you'll handle him in much the same way as the Hive Singer, using yours and your teammates' interrupts and your stuns to keep him locked down as long as you can. You do have one additional tool, but it only works against single target spells. Grounding Totem will absorb the next spell cast at any party member, or if glyphed, it will reflect that spell back at the caster. Anytime you expect either AoE or random single target damage, you're going to want to put Healing Rain down on the melee group. When possible, you'll want to stand in the Healing Rain with the melee group. However, at times it may be necessary for you to stand between the melee group and the hunter so that your chain heal will bounce to all of your targets. If you watch closely, you'll see a glyphed Grounding Totem in action. When used properly, this becomes a very powerful ability. Not only does it prevent damage to a friendly target, but it deals that damage to the enemy. Just be careful with your timing. You have a very limited window during which a spell will be reflected, so it's best to use it when you know it won't be wasted, such as when all of your teammates have their interrupts on cooldown. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, but you'll want to do, is to make sure that you use Healing Stream Totem on cooldown. Not only does this do a significant amount of healing for the mana it costs, but it extends the window during which you can DPS. Naturally, this means enemies die faster and do less damage. This ultimately saves you mana.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wave 5 throws something new at you, in that mobs will start to spawn in during the middle of the round. You want to keep this Hive Singer locked down as much as you can, and you also want to pour as much damage into it as possible because you want it dead before the Flame Caller spawns in. Right here I begin to cast a Healing Rain to help recover from the AoE damage by the Hive Singer. But just before I click to place it, I hear the Flame Caller spawn in behind me, so I know the group is about to move. This is something you'll want to be aware of regardless of your class. Not only do ground-based healing effects tend to be on the expensive side, but they can also have cooldowns which prevent you from moving them once placed, so it's best to wait until the group is settled before you put one down. Be aware that the damage of each round is front-loaded, and it will naturally decrease as enemies die. This allows you to use more mana-efficient heals towards the end of the round to help you get caught up on mana. What you may not have thought of is that this means that you can help put a lot of burst damage on an enemy early in the round, and then use the lull to get caught up on your healing. Wave 6 is going to once again throw a new mechanic at you, in this case, dispelling a debuff. Aqua Bomb will have a short countdown during which it can be dispelled. If the countdown reaches 0, the Aqua Bomb explodes, dealing a high amount of damage to the target and anyone near it. Naturally, you'll want to dispel this as quickly as possible, because it's much cheaper to dispel it than it is to heal the damage it causes. Tank damage will also ramp up during this round, but it shouldn't be anything you can't handle. An ability that is situationally useful is Unleash Life. Unleash Life heals the target for a small amount, and then increases the healing of your next direct heal by 30%. Because of the global cooldown, it is a healing loss to use this with Healing Wave, so you'll always want to use it with Healing Surge. Even then, the only time you're going to use it is when you have a small lull in the healing before you know someone's about to take a big hit. That said, if all those things are true, it can make for some very big heals. Wave 7 will have slightly lower tank damage and instead replace it with moderate bursts of random single target magic damage. Standard caveats for facing a flame color applies. As always, stun, interrupt, and spell reflect as often as you can, but while doing this, don't lose track of Aqua Bomb. You'll still need to dispel that as quickly as you can. As always, the better job you do of using your utility to lock down your opponents, the less time you have to spend healing, the more time you can do DPSing, and the shorter the round becomes. Of special note when healing on a shaman is understanding how your mastery works. In short, the lower your target's health is, the bigger your heals will be. When you combine this effect with the bonuses from Elemental Blast and Tidal Waves, you'll actually have a little more wiggle room in deciding what's an emergency and what isn't when you're healing. Because of how quick your efficient heal is, you might not need to go to your emergency heal until someone's at 40% or lower.
3, 2, 1.
Wave 8 brings it all together by throwing a little bit of everything at you. In general, the key to surviving this round is locking down the Hive Singers to prevent as much of the AoE damage as you can. As always, this means as many stuns, interrupts, and time doing damage as you can spare. While doing all of this, keep an eye out for Aqua Bomb. You still need to dispel that. Once the flame color spawns in, you'll want to turn and interrupt the channel that puts the fire puddles on the ground. Then, once he's switched to Fire Blast, add Glyphed Grounding Totem to your toolkit. Shaman have a lot of utility spells, and if you're using them all properly, you should be able to spend a lot of time DPSing and thus end these rounds pretty quickly. However, if at any point you do get in trouble, remember that you have several cooldowns to help you out. Earth Elemental Totem acts as a defensive cooldown by taunting and tanking enemies. Ancestral Swiftness makes your next heal instant cast and is great for making a panic button macro. Healing Tide Totem is a powerful group-wide heal that's great for countering AoE damage. Ascendance is a powerful cooldown, essentially turning every heal you cast into an AoE heal. It too is great for countering group-wide damage. Spirit Link Totem is an extremely powerful damage reduction and healing cooldown, and can be used as an external tank cooldown or to counter group-wide damage. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me through this YouTube channel or on my blog. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope this video helped you.